Hey everyone, Papercut here with another 2v2 strategy guide. I want to break down the dynamic duo of French and Malians and how I think they're potentially one of the best twos pairings you can do. I think if you play it well, could really climb doing these two together. So I've seen from previous videos, been playing a lot more team games, trying to stand it. A lot of people want teams content, so I'm trying to do more around that. Been playing especially a lot of twos with a lot of my boys, Simon, Munch, Makomi, Yak, Cisco. So that's given me a lot of chances to test things, try different combinations, and I think the twos combination is really interesting because I think while in threes and fours, the split of civs might not be as important, but twos it definitely is. And so I want to break down why I think Malians and French are so good, especially because the traditional, if you think of like the most traditional twos combo, it is French and English. And we'll talk about why. But I actually think Malians is a much better matchup with French than English is. So let's get into it. As always, please like and subscribe. It really helps the video and channel my size. If you're interested in coaching, love to coach you. I do teams coaching. And those rates are different. You can reach out to me if you're interested in that. So twos, the context. Why is French so popular in twos? Well, if you think about it, when you're trying to pick two civs together, you want civs that have certain strengths and cover each other's weaknesses. You also want a civ that generally is strong in the early game because you will always play the early game. It's great to have a civ that is great in Imperial, but there's a lot of times you don't get to Imperial. But having a civ that's really strong in Feudal means you set the tone. It means you're the ones kind of setting the engagement, you're forcing your opponents to react, and that's generally a good thing. French is the best at that because French has their landmark that allows them to make Feudal Knights immediately. They have the strongest Feudal Knights in the game, and they force reaction. Your opponents have to counter the Knights in some way, and it will thus be a very predictable way. Either spears, or even the Civ has a good Knight counter, you know the counter that's coming. Which means the civ you want to pair with French is one that can counter spears or anything else that can hurt the French knight. But it also means that the opponents have to deal with the French knight. So that gives the civ paired with the French player a lot of options. They can fast castle, they can 2TC, they can go all in with the French player. All of that is possible, and it makes French a very dynamic choice, and why you almost always see French or JD as a choice in a twos matchup. Now the traditional choice has been English, and you can understand why. Think about how they support each other's weaknesses. French wants to make knights, which are very food heavy, so they want to be on deer, they want to be on board, they want to use the meat on the map. Their weakness is spears. There you go, here comes the longbows, and the longbows can easily kill spears. The English want to also not be on meat. They can make really cheap farms, and that can power easily a longbow eco. So that means they can give all of the food on the map to French, and they can open council hall, which means they have just as much early pressure with units as the French do. Sounds great, right? I think, though, that the Malians have a one-up on English with this. So let's talk about why. So first, passive power and unit power. I think the passive part of it's important, but also the unit power of the Malians is great. So let's talk about their units first. First, you have the Donzo. The Donzo is the unique spear for the Malians, and what's really nice about it is that they have a javelin that throws on cooldown before they attack, and that javelin does 5 damage. So, one, that means they can poke really easily, and how I like to use a Donzo for Malians is as a Dark Age Rush. So you can make Donzos to push and Dark Age Rush the opponent, and I'll talk about why in the strategy breakdown here in a second. But that means that if you can get 10 Donzos, they're sniping a villager in one shot. A villager is 50 health, each javelin is 5 health, so you can snipe villas. So even if they get a tower up, you can just regularly pop in, snipe a villa, walk out. It's very annoying and forces a response. And so yeah, I say you use them in the Dark Age Rush. I'll explain how coming up. 2, you have the archer. And while it's a very normal archer, its uniqueness comes in castle, because you can be massing them in feudal, then you both go castle, and boom, you can get an upgrade called poison arrows, which gives them extra 3 damage over 6 seconds for every shot. That's crazy, right? That means that these archers can now stand up to almost any unit in the game in mass, and makes it so they're one of the strongest archers in the game, which makes them a great pairing with the knights. 2, the javelin thrower. So there are some matchups that even if you have a French player, the opponent will still go range themselves. Whether that is civs that have horse archers specifically, such as Mongols and Rus, or civs that have really strong range themselves, the javelin thrower, and it is immediate counter to those as they are anti-ranged. They have high ranged armor, and they do extra damage against range units. So that just makes them really good in that context too. So as Malians, you're very flexible to the needs of your French player. Then we think about the economy. While the English do have the farm economy, that's all well and good. the Malians have the pit mines. So every age, the Malians can add an extra pit mine. So Dark Age they have 1, Feudal they can have 2, Castle 3, Imperial 4. The pit mine is built on top of the gold mine for 150 wood, and then you build houses around it, 25 wood each, and that increases the amount of passive gold the pit mines create. And so think about it on this way. Since you're probably going to do an archer mass, you're not going to use that gold anyway, so you can send it to a French player. So now the French player is on the map, on the food resource, getting a lot of food, and then you're feeding them gold by building a market and sending them gold, and they can produce knights at a crazy rate that way. Since you don't need that gold, you can just send it to them, and you don't have any villas on that gold either. Amazing. 2, they have cows. So once again, they don't need the food on the map because they can make cows. Cows are an eco unit that they can be slaughtered and eaten like sheep, or you can put them in pens for passive food income. So the Malian player can just be eating cows, either literally slaughtering them or putting them into pens slowly over time, and then getting passive food. So they don't need to touch the food on the map. That's all the French players. Lastly, their TCs only cost gold and wood. So that means if they want to, they could do a very quick second TC into Feudal. So while the French player is pressuring early with a few knights, you go second TC, get your eco pumping, and then you're just massing a crazy amount of archers, or you're going castle. We'll talk about why you do that, but that just gives you, once again, an amazing amount of flexibility depending on what you want to do, depending on the matchup. So how do the French and Malians play together? In a way very similar to English, though I think there is some tweaks. So first, if you're facing another French player, so Malians versus French plus something else, I suggest you do a Dark Age rush. So you're actually going to skip the Dark Age pit mine. You're going to get down 8 barracks. You're going to get down some houses, and you're going to make donzos. And the donzos are going to go rush the other French player. You're going to push them off gold. You don't even need to tower. You just need to delay their initial gold. Why do that? Well, one, the French player doesn't want to make archers. So if you're forcing to make archers to push your donzos back, great. If not, they might have to rush up a tower. They have to do something that's going to waste resources. But most importantly, that's going to delay their initial knight production. That gives your French player the chance to get ahead on knights, which is everything in these twos matchups. Once they have more knights than the opposing French player, that French player has to play passive. Even if he gets his gold back, he has to play passive because he's now behind on knights. That makes his eco probably more restricted. He can't get out on deer, and now you guys are way ahead. And this will force the French player's partner to do something. They either have to make units in Feudal now, which is great for you guys because you have a really strong Feudal comp, or if they go castle and go 2 TC, that leaves the French player open to being all in while they're doing their own thing. If you're facing horse archers or a strong ranged mass, I misspelled ranged. I'm not going to pause and respell it. Renaged. You can go javelins. So for example, Mangudai are such a huge pain. Now you have javelin throwers. Boom, solved. Roost fast castles and horse archers. Boom, you have javelin solved. Ayubids and Abbasids. Abbasids have camo archers. Ayubids have desert raiders, which are terrible, terrible things that French players don't want to fight. Boom, you have javelins. So that is immediately countered, no problemo. And then lastly, if you face against a traditional pairing, so you have like a French and English or a French and House of Lancaster, that French and House of Lancaster, they'll want to make archers anyway. They'll want to make longbows. Boom, javelins, you have it countered. So no matter what, you can counter anything your opponents want to throw at you guys, because that French knight is such a strong front line. If you're facing double knight, you can still do the Dark Age rush to at least slow down one of the knight production, or you just go mass donzos. And so now you're doing knight mass donzo, which will beat knight. And all you guys really have to do is just, once you mass up enough donzos, force a fight so the knights have to defend, and you'll win that because your donzos are so good. And if you start building up enough donzos, you'll start just straight up one-shotting knights with javelins before you even take a fight. So you can, if they get close, you hit them with a javelin, and you're chunking them down. It's going really well. So other options for you. So those are like the basic things you're doing, which is just mostly like, I would suggest almost always doing some sort of feudal pressure because your pairing is so strong. You could also do early second TC if your goal is to try to build up an eco lead and you're kind of planning on this game going a little bit longer. So the longer that game goes, the stronger that second TC will be. Pro scouts, you can get pro scouts very easily as Malians because you're getting that passive gold. So what you would do if you do that is that you would actually build an extra round of houses. So usually as Malians, you open up, you cut down one tree fully and you build the houses. You would cut down another tree, straggler tree fully, and build even more houses. Then when you age up, you'd get the wood for a stable, and you're going to have the passive gold to get to 300 for the pro scouts. And then you pro scout the deer for the French player, which means they're going to have even better food, even safer food. So once you get the pro scouts going, get like 4 or 5 warrior scouts to start doing it, then you just mass archers and you're good to go. Fast castle for Rimba. You go fast castle for Rimba. This allows you to then get poison javelins. Poison javelins are, you've covered all your bases. They have the poison damage. Ooh, I didn't mean to hit that. They have the poison damage, which means they can fight almost anything with the knights. They have the counter to ranged. So and they're fast. So you have the whole package in there, right there. But you are sacrificing eco and you're sacrificing early pressure to do so. So with that, let's go into a couple replays where I'm going to show you some basic build orders, watch it play out and explain the thought process behind it so you can get some examples. I'm going to have one where we do a Dark Age rush and one where we do a very traditional just all in. All right, so on this replay, we have me playing Malian, Simon is French against an Iubid and a French player. So this is the one I'm going to Dark Age rush because we see an opposing Knight player, so I'm just going to make units and push. I'm going to go Dark Age to slow out the Knight player and force the Iubid to do something. Once again, we have the counters here. If the Iubid player makes Desert Raiders, I can make Javelins. Bada bing, bada boom, we're good. On this replay, I'm going to focus on my opening build order because the Dark Age is a little weird. And then on the next replay, I'll focus on Simon's build order. So if you need a French opening, we got you on Simon's. Let's go ahead and get into it. So I'm going to open with 5 villagers on wood, and then with 1 villager start building the houses. I'm still going to build it around the gold vein. So eventually when I do add a pit mine, it's already, the house is already around there. That is going to make my villager a little less efficient, but I find it worth it. Once I get 1 round of wood gathering, I'm going to send vills back to food. I'm just going to leave 2 on wood. It's also nice is that since the houses are cheap, you can hypothetically just drop 1 or 2 if you want to be stingy. I'm going to have the villager that made the houses then drop the barracks, and I'm searching for the French player. Luckily, I am across from the French player, and his gold mine is forward, which very much sucks for him. So now I'm dropping the barracks. I'm just rallying to food. And basically the goal is how many donzos do I make? Since I'm not going to tower, I'm just going to make 2, and then I'll make more if I feel like I need to. I then send that vill to wood as well, so now I have 3 on wood, partly because donzos are a little bit more food expensive. They're 60 food, 30 wood, instead of 60 food, 20 wood for a normal spearman. At least I think I got that right off the top of my head. I just know they're more wood expensive at least. So I'm going to put some extra vills on wood for a second, and then eventually I'm going to want to, also I want to eventually add more houses. So I am going to have 3 on wood there. And also, since I am going to need a mine gold normally, I start adding even more to wood because I'm going to need to build a mine and get gold normally instead of passively. With 9 on food, I feel confident that I can make another donzo. And if I really want to, I can make 2 or 3 more if needed. So first donzo's here. He has pushed the vills off of gold. The second donzo's here, and now he's precious as well. I'm just going to burn the gold mine. Unfortunately, if my scouting was a little bit more on key, I noticed him rush up to this gold later. I really should have scouted his base fully to know where all the secondary golds are, so I could have kept an eye and stopped him from getting that gold later. But my initial plan has worked. If you notice the current resources, the opposing French player is stuck on 210, while Simon is aging up and continuing to gather gold, which is really important for consistent night production. At this point, since I feel confident that I've pushed the opponent off of gold, I am now going to rally my wood vills onto gold, drop another house, and now we're going to get the gold needed to age up. And I'm just going to rally to food after this. Since I already have 9 on food and 300 food, I'm actually going to send 5 to gold to try to get that age up rolling. I see he's opening school cavalry, and this is the beautiful thing about doing this strategy is that the French player really does not want to make archers. So they're going to do everything they can to just keep making knights, so you can really play into that by adding more donzos. Once again, man, I should have caught him just going to the gold nearby, but it is what it is. He doesn't get that much gold before we notice, luckily. So I'm still rallying to food. I have the food for the age up, about to get the gold for the age up. I'm just going to age up with the normal age up, the pit mine age up. Manticore. I see his gold vills over here, so I'm going to go push again. And once again, he doesn't have enough gold for a knight. So he's going to age up, and he can't make a knight, which is a pretty big deal. While Simon is now sitting at 240 gold, he can make 2 knights. So everything's going up Simon. Simon hits the age up. He tries to sneak out to the other gold. I'm still here. Boom. You notice every time he tries, my donzos are getting hits on his villagers. And now he's doing the very panicked tower near the gold, which means I can poke this and slow him down even more. He's not getting gold this entire time. This is massive for me, and since I noticed him trying to make more units, I'm actually going to start making more donzos. Just try to lay this out even more. At home, my macro becomes very simple. I'm going to go into archers or javelins. So basically all I need, if I'm going to do javelins, it's going to be heavy wood and gold. I'm sorry, heavy food and gold with some wood to keep adding archer ranges. If it's going to be heavy archers, I'm just going to do mass on wood with just a few on gold. So that's depending. Javelins is gold and food, so you just need heavy gold and food. If you're doing archers, it's heavy food and wood with a little bit on gold to get upgrades. And if you build 2, basically if you build 2 pit mines and have the manticore, you basically have all the gold you need. You don't even need vills on gold. At that point, you need to build a market and send gold to your French player. So I'm harassing this. Simon, since he's free, he knows he's not going to get pressured by the opposing French player. and he's read that the Aibid player is going to go fast castle because he went eco wing, that frees him up to just go out and take this really good food. He's on deer and boar in the same spot, so his food's going to be amazing. If you look at Simon's food income, it's about to start spiking. On the other hand, the French player can't go on to deer. This French player is stuck in base. He has to go on sheep, and he's going to start going on berries, which is amazing for us. If the Aibid player had opened units, Simon would have been a little bit more passive on his food probably, or at least dropped the tower, and then I would have immediately made javelin throwers. But since he read the age up being eco wing, he can tell that this is going to be a fast castle. He's free to get the really good food, which is going to make his knight production really, really good. So this is where this strategy also plays in. Since this French player can't be aggressive, Simon is free to be on any food he wants on the map, which is going to build that advantage even more. I just keep tagging his villagers. Whenever my Donzos get the cooldown, I can get another spirit, and he's forced to now really rush this tower. Honestly, awful for him. I age up, and now I'm making my spearmen. I'm going to upgrade my spearmen, and honestly, I just decide I'm just going to keep making Donzos because he's so stuck in his base. I'm just going to keep making Donzos, and I'm going to add javelins. So we're going to have javelins and Donzos. Donzos do require some wood, so I'm still pretty heavy on wood early. The reason I'm heavy on wood early is because I need to add production. So I'm not quite ready to like pump the unit I want to pump yet. I need to get multiple archery ranges. I need to get my next pit mine. I need to make this pit mine and get the houses around it. So that's just a lot of wood. So you notice I'm very heavy on wood. So I'm not giving specifics. I am not big on giving a highly specific build order. I'm more based on you set up your eco base on what you need. I need a lot of production. I need pit mines. I put a lot on wood. I feel like that's a better way to do it, as that makes you a lot more flexible depending on your needs. More so, what's the exact build split that I need? So I'm just going to make Donzos. And the more Donzos I get, the more I can just poke at his vills. This also allows Simon to make a couple decisions. One, we can double team the French player and keep harassing his eco. Two, he can keep harassing the Aibid player who's trying to fast castle. He'll do both. His knights are very mobile, so you can just bounce between the two civs, keep harassing both. And at this point, I want to point out something. Simon has, at this point, he's pop blocked, but he has 3 knights. The French player has none. Absolutely freaking massive for us. No, like 3 knight lead is a crazy knight lead. And this French player is probably feeling really bad. And also Simon, if we look at the income per minute, is dousing the opposing player. Yes, he's getting more food, but Simon's also getting wood and gold better. So overall, his eco is just way better. So amazing stuff. I back up, get some more Donzos. I'm going to add my archery range and then my pit mine. Remember, units is always more important generally. We're doing a very pressure style, so I just need units. He tries to rush up another outpost, so I'm just here bugging him. I'm now building enough Donzos that I can take away half a villager's health in one javelin throw. Since he's trying to build another tower, I communicate to Simon, hey, he's dropping a second tower. So Simon's going to send his knights over because we realize there's no units. He's not making units. The Aibid player is not making units. He's castling right now. So we're free and clear to just go. Since the Aibid player is probably going to open Camel Lancers with the stable, we now have great options. I can just keep making Donzos and counter his Camel Lancers. If he makes Desert Raiders, I make Javelins. Pretty easy. So I'll just make both right now until we confirm what the Aibid player is making. He can't finish the tower. He has to delete it. Now we realize, oh, Simon can just burn this other tower. So now he's burning this tower. And the French player is adding a second stable, even though he doesn't really have the income to make knights. And he's now seeking out to a back hold, which at the time we did not know about. Once again, our scouting was trash. Actually, my scouting. I should have scouted the French player better. Simon did his scouting. Simon, don't yell at me. Now, since I know his eco is really bad, I'm just going to circle with my units and just keep making units. While Simon's like, okay, the Aibid player just castled. So now Simon has an issue where if he does get a lot of Camel Lancers out, he will really struggle to take that fight. While I have a lot of spearmen. So Simon's decided he's going to try to go castle. I'm just going to keep making units. This was the game where I didn't quite realize how probably good it would have been if I just sent him gold. So I'm floating a lot of gold. And I don't realize till later I can send it to him. Next game, we do a lot better job of me just sending him gold. But this is when I realized, oh my god, I should just be sending him gold right now. But look at what I'm able to do here with my Donzos. I catch him walling in the back, so I call for Simon to come raid this. So Simon's going to turn around here in a second, come raid it. I can now just poke and snipe a vill. I have 1 javelin, an archer, and 8 Donzos. I can just snipe vills with the javelin throws. I noticed some walling, so Simon's going to come in the back here. That's not enough knights to defend, so this is what we're talking about. The French player has to play so defensive because he cannot match Simon's knight production. These villagers are once again idle. And while the Aibid is kind of getting free reign to play the game, his opponent, his ally, is so messed up. He's losing vills, he's losing units. And look, he's just like idle under TC in a really bad way. So I'm not going to dive. I would just lose all my units. Instead, what we decide is we need to now switch. So my eco is going pretty good. I have 2 pit mines. I'm going to start adding a lot of production here. I really should have dropped a market sooner and just bought stuff with my gold and sent Simon gold, but we were still refining the strategy at this point. I'm now going to... Simon makes the call that we should just switch. So I should now go fight the Aibid player because I have spears and he is making camel lancers. And Simon should just fight the French player because he just has way more knights than him. So in a second, I'm going to put my armies back together. And then I'm going to snipe one more vill here. Sucks for you. And now I'm going to circle back. Simon is chasing camel lancers around the map. He's defending really nicely. The Aibid player is getting relics, but it's like the eco damage we've done to the French player is immense. And now he's sneaking back out to gold, but that's going to be a problem for them soon because the other thing we know is this Aibid player is definitely going to be running out of food soon as well. He was on these berries, he was on sheep, so they have to be on map resources. This is when we're really going to take advantage of our unit numbers. So I'm going to rush over to the Aibid player, and this is perfectly fine if you think about it. Like, I should be fighting the player with the stronger cav or the counter to Simon, and Simon should be fighting against the player he has a better count against. So he's now going to fight the French player with better knights. I can easily go fight the Aibid player. So I'm just messing with him here, and now I'm about to go cross. And this is when actually Simon goes, hey, can you just go fight the Aibid player? I went, yep, that's actually a really good idea. At home, since I had so much gold, I start adding ranches, and I'm just going to passively start making cows so that my food eco stays good, and I don't have to risk vills being on the map. I'm going to get arrow defense, arrow attack. I'd really put all my resources into units at this point. And I dropped a market so I could also buy resources. I really should have sent gold to Simon. We realized this next game. Sorry, Simon. And we just keep the pressure going. He tries to raid me with knights, but I'm not too worried about it. I can make spearmen, and Simon, as the knight player, can then run over and fight his knights with my knight, his knights with his knights. So I'm not worried about it at all. And now the Aibid player is in a really bad spot because I have so many spears. He can't take this fight. He can't get a wall up. And now I can do things like burn his mosque so he loses his passive gold. I'm researching siege engineering right now, and I'm making more spears. At this point, I'm pumping spears. I got 2 barracks. I honestly could have added a 3rd and a 4th. And Simon realizes he has to be on food. So he goes and checks the berries, and boom, there's the French player's vills. And boom, there's the Aibid player's vills. The Aibid player can't take a fight with me because camel lancers will lose to donzos, even feudal donzos, if I have enough of them. Boom. And I'm massing up more at the front. Simon is killing so many villagers. It's such a huge eco damage. And then I mass in the front. Aibid player tries to go for a raid. I catch his camel lancers out and kill half of them. And he knows it's over and he GG's. So that's an example of how Dark Age opening can really, really set the opposing French player back and give your French player such an advantage. You can take really good food. You can have the knight advantage, so you can be constantly raiding, and you just support him with whatever counter unit you need to make and attack and fighting the opponent that makes the most sense for you to fight. And you notice we never left. We just stayed by their bases the whole time, and they never had the space to actually do anything. All right, so let's head into the next replay where we play a normal feud all in. All right, so on this one, we're on Gorge. We are against another Malian player, and we're against a Knights Templar player. So we don't really have a true knight opponent. So if this was a normal setup, I wouldn't Dark Age Rush anyway, but Gorge makes it especially tough because the golds are protected by TC. But even if this was a normal map, I would not have Dark Age Rushed him because Knights Templar is not a real Knight Civ. His Chevs will lose to Simon's Knights, so I'm not too worried about that. Instead, I have to think about what the opposing Malian player is going to do. So I'll probably mass archers at first, expecting donzos, and I can switch into javelins if there's a different case. So we're going to actually watch Simon's opening here, so you can get a build order from Simon. Simon is a Conk 3 French player, so he knows what he's doing. So I'm going to do 6 on food immediately. We make sure to scout opposite sides, so we're not scouting the same thing. And Simon loves doing early deer because no one can harass you off of it. And even if we read someone was harassing him, I'd probably just rush down our barracks and defend him. I'm going to do a normal pit mine opening where I do enough houses to cover the pit mine, and then I'm going to go all on food. So Simon now has 7 on food. Keep in mind, he sent 6 to the deer, and then he sent his next vill onto the sheep. So he didn't send the 7th vill all the way out here. To be more efficient, he sent it on the sheep. And now he's going to send 2 vills to build a house and then build a mining camp. And he's going to do a 3rd one, 2 gold. He did get survival techniques to improve his deer gathering, which is really, really big. Now he's going to have 4 to gold. Look at that. Oh, any idle time? We have some slight TC idle time from Simon. Even Conk 3 players do it. And villager idle time as well. Powerful from Simon. But he's going to recover. And now with 4 on gold, he's just going to rally to food from here on out. That's basically a deer opening for sure. If this was not deer, he probably would have done 7 to food, 3 to gold, and then the rest to food. He's laming this guy's deer because ha 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 ha. Now he's going to age up with 4. And he's going to keep 7 on food, 4 on gold, and now just rally to wood. He's going to... Keep in mind, once again, this is different because he's on deer, right? If you're not on deer, your food's not as powerful. So if this was all on sheep, he probably would have kept 7 on sheep. And now he's just going to rally to wood until he has 4 on wood. Are we going to do a 5th on wood, Simon? Nope, 4 on wood. Now, why do that? He's not going to make archers. He's not going to make spears. He's making knights. Knights are food and gold. So he only needs enough of those on wood to regularly add a house, and every once in a while, a stable or a blacksmith. So 4 on wood is totally fine. The rest can just be on food and gold. I do my normal opening as well. And since right now I'm going to open archers, I'm going to be very heavy on wood. You notice I have nothing on gold. And with nothing on gold, I passively got almost 300 gold here. And I did add extra houses. Reason being is that I thought about doing pro scouts and then I changed my mind. But at first I was like, do I do a second TC? Do I do pro scouts? In both cases, you'd want the extra houses to get the gold. If you notice a TC is 400 gold, I almost have the gold passively to get the TC right now. So I could have put all my vills on wood and got it. But I also thought about doing pro scouts. I decided to do neither. And now I just have extra gold. But anyway, it's okay. So I chopped down 2 straggler trees fully to add as many houses as I could. Simon now has 5 on gold. He's now adding more to wood. He now has 7 on wood. He's getting his upgrades. He's getting wheelbarrow. He's getting mining. And now he's adding the second stable. And now that he has the second stable down, he's now rallying back to food. And he's going to be on food pretty heavy from here on out. We read the situation as having the opposing Malian player did a Saharan trade network to try to protect pilgrims for the Templar player. And we decided we're just going to play this feudal all in because... if they're going to try to, do pilgrims, we just want to make sure they can't get the pilgrims going, else that's a huge eco boost. We don't want the Malian player to boom, because that'd be bad too, so we just want to prevent cow boom, we want to prevent pilgrims, so we're just going to go all in. Also, since Simon's on food early, his food's much better than the Templar player, and the Templar player went knights, which are worse than Simon's knights, so in the end, Simon's already ahead if you consider the food, and he's wasting wood on farms, which is great for us. So we continue. Once again, not great for the KT player to go early farms. It's just not good food eco. He's wasting wood. I get he's getting wood for food right now, but still. So now we're attacking the pilgrims, and now the game plan is pretty simple. Simon's going to make knights, and he's going to defend. I'm going to mass archers early, just in case we see spears. Once I get a mass of like 8 to 10 archers, then we'll then push out and actually put pressure on. I don't want to walk out too early, because if the opponent has more cav than we anticipate, if the Malian player went sofas or something we don't realize, I don't want my early archers to die for nothing, so I'm waiting until I have a mass. We kill his chevs because he tried to raid too hard. He raided too close to the sun, and now we're good to go pressure. So the second we kill these 2 chevs, we're like, let's go, go, go. Simon's once again checking the sacred site. I'm setting up on the right side, and since I'm the infantry player, it's my job to get siege engineering, so I rush down to blacksmith and immediately get siege engineering. So I'm 2 archery range blacksmith. You notice Simon is now 3 on wood, 20 on food, 10 on gold. So he is now max. This is after he dropped the blacksmith, right? So he's got his second stable. He's got blacksmith. He's now into max knight pump mode. I, on the other hand, are super heavy on wood and food and basically no on gold. And I'm floating a bunch of gold. If you drop a tower as Malians, you can always put your Manticoria on stone for a bit to get the upgrades. So now I'm scouting, seeing what's going on. We see he's starting his cow boom, so we know he's invested resources into cows. I'm just pure units at this point. So think about it this way. He's invested 200 wood into the stable, into the pens, and then 90 gold per cow. So that's 90, 180, 270, plus another 180, 460, 450, something like that. Whatever. It's yeah, 450. No, wait. 530, 540, whatever. So a lot of resources. He's invested a lot of resources that I'm now putting into units. So he has made some units, but he's definitely going to be behind me. And he's going javelins and donzos, which is great for us. If they're going to do a mixed comp, my pure comp of archers with Simon's pure comp of knights is going to work out a lot better here. So I'm just going to drop the ram soon. We're going to go for it. Our goal here early is just to kill the cows to hurt his early eco. I'm just pre-pumping. Once I saw him make donzos, so now I'm making donzos. I mean, not donzos, I mean javelins. In the end, I'm actually going to change my mind and stop making javelins, because in the end, as long as I kill the archers, Simon's knights will kill everything else. That's kind of what it really comes down to. So now we come in, we're fighting. You notice how the micro's going. Simon is trying to screen for me and make sure I don't get jumped. At the same time, I am trying to make sure I don't get too far forward, and my goal is just to shoot donzos. Anytime a spearman comes close, I'm shooting them with my archers, and I'm also killing the cows. So I'm the one who's going to kill the cows once we kill those to ruin his eco. Whenever the donzos come forward, I'm going to try to snipe the donzo. Bad rally from Simon there. Also, I'm not doing my job. Instead, I just start killing vills. So I am going to get like 3 or 4 vills from the KT player, which is nice. That's not enough donzos. That's not enough donzos. Javelins are here to kill my archers, but the issue being is Simon's knights aren't dying, and if Simon's knights don't die, everything from the opponent player is going to die. I'm just sniping donzos, but my archer player, as the archer player, my only job is to snipe spearmen, and then Simon's knights can do everything else. The key thing is Simon got arrow defense before we attacked. Very important that Simon's knights get that, so that he is not taking extra TC fire. Now that we've done some damage, we've cut down the Shev count by a significant amount. We are now going to back up. During this time, I have started adding my second pit mine. My gold is amazing. I add another archery range, 2 more archery ranges, and this is when I notice, I say, I have a lot of extra gold, and Simon goes, you should send me that gold. And I went, oh my god, this strategy makes so much sense. So in the second, I'm going to drop a black market and start sending him gold, and now I'm just pumping archers. Simon is pumping knights, and our much more strategic comp is much better than this like mixed comp the KT and the Malian player are trying to do. Simon's knights are going to heal up, I'm going to keep massing up, and then we decide, hey, he's sending pilgrims over here, why don't we just like drop rams and attack the Saharan Trade Network and all his productions over here. So if we win the fight over here, we just kind of win-win. Once again, since we're pressuring them so heavily, Simon can go on deer up here for free, he can go on deer down here for free, and he's going to go on board here in a second as well. So his food is going to be absolutely amazing, while the KT player is adding lots of farms and is not on the map at all. The Malian player is on the map a little bit, but it's mostly passive gold. His food is going to be struggling soon for sure. At this point, just archers. I'm going to drop more rams. We're going for another push. This is when I start sending Simon gold. If you notice, Simon now has more gold in his food, which is a huge positive for a French player. And now he can add more stables and just seriously make a lot of knights. Look at Simon's income. It's much better than the Templars player, meaning that he can produce. And the Templar player is making chefs, right? So that's not great against knights. He, for some reason, comes up to try to snipe this Vil, so he killed 2 chefs for free. That's not worth it, guys. Don't all in for 1 Vil. There's also an interesting thing with the javelin versus archer issue, which is at some point I'll get so many archers that I'm actually doing well against javelins, because javelins will overkill so heavily. So if the opponent has good micro, like he can grab groups of like 8 javelins to micro, then it's great. But if he's not microing his javelins separately, then his javelins are going to massively overkill, while my archers will do great. Now I'm dropping the rams, and we're just going to go ahead and push. Simon's knight numbers are crazy at this point. Simon has probably 20 knights here. The KT player only has 13 chevs. I ain't gonna cut it. The Malian player is starting to add Sofa, which is like Sofa with only 3 ranged armor is not doing great against 6 ranged attack. I mean, they both have 3 ranged armor, so they're not doing amazing against my archer mass anyway. Really, the Malian player needed to commit to just, in my opinion, mass Donzos. They should have done mass Donzo, mass Chev, and grade. Or they did mass Spear Javelin. So the Templar player goes mass Spearman, something like that. So we push in. The second level micro is going to be really important as well here. Once again, my job is Spearman. That's it. Simon's Knights will basically do everything else. They don't even have that many spearmen anyway, but that's the point. And also my goal is I need a micro near Simon to make sure I don't lose my archers. Like, I can't get surrounded by a cav mass. That's really, really important. So I'm circling to stay with Simon's Knights. We're now attacking the production, which is a really good thing to attack. I see the Chevs coming, so I call it to Simon that the Chevs are here. So what I do is I'm actually going to run forward into Simon's Knights and keep sniping Donzo's so I don't get surrounded by his Knights. So I'm going to push forward, Simon's going to push back, catch the Chevs. The Sofa are going to run in as well, but like the Sofa, I'm just going to kite and the Sofa are dying pretty quickly. Simon re-micros his Knights to split between both groups, and we're just cleaning this up. You have to keep in mind Simon is pumping 4 Knights at a time, which is a crazy amount of Knights, and he's able to age up. Like, he honestly could have had 2 more stables pumping Knights because his food is so good, and I'm giving him gold. So his production is just off the charts. Off the charts. And that's GG. Hope you enjoyed this video. Hope you have fun playing Malian Knights on the Twos ladder, and good luck on your games.